So Games Workshop has just revealed Warhammer Plus to us. £4.99 or $5.99 per month, but it seems that you get really quite a lot included for that price. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, where today we're just summarising the recent Warhammer community preview, where they've finally lifted the lid in full on Warhammer Plus and told us about all the things that their new subscription service will do for us, in addition to their much talked about animations. Quite a lot to talk about here, and it's really quite an interesting value proposition. So let's just start by summarising all the things that Warhammer Plus gives you, a quick focus on the new exclusive miniatures and the new shows and animations that they'll be releasing, and then talk about whether or not it might be worth it to the average hobbyist. So we now know that 25th of August is now the launch day for Warhammer Plus. Apparently that's been delayed from July due to the whole pandemic thing, and Warhammer Plus will be a way that you can access a bunch of different things. Perhaps the easiest way to access it will be to sign up with a My Warhammer account, something that Games Workshop have been pushing for the last half a year or so. It is either £4.99, €5.49 or $5.99 if you want to pay it on a monthly basis and just try it out, or if you're fairly committed that you'll be using it the entire year long, you can either pay £49.99, €54.99 or $59.99, and then that'll get you the entire year included. It basically amounts to a 1/6 discount if you're pretty sure that you're going to be there for the full 12 months. They really are seeming to be taking a many-pronged approach with Warhammer Plus. They've already talked up their animations really quite a lot, but there's also a couple of exclusive miniatures, a series of new video content, battle reports, a lore channel and a painting channel called Citadel Masterclass, a literature and written content section called the Warhammer Vault, access to the Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar apps, which are included entirely in the subscription fee, some special perks at events called VIP events tickets, maybe some minor perks if you do attend some events in person, and also some mysterious additional offers. They've hinted at some slightly reduced Games Workshop vouchers, and maybe some other offers down the line. The price doesn't seem absolutely terrible for what you get, to be honest, though it will of course be competing with the various other subscription services that everyone has going on in their lives, things like Netflix for example. But I do quite like the way that there's the option to buy in bulk and get a year's worth of subscription and get a little bit off what you would have paid anyway. I quite like it that you have the choice whether you just want to dip your toe in it and try it out for a couple of months and see if you actually use it, or whether you want to try it out just for a year, guarantee the exclusive miniatures, and save a little bit in the long run. We'll talk a bit more about the animations later, but they have around about 16 different shows that they've shown off, of which the biggest, most notable productions seem to be Hammer and Bolter and Angels of Death, their 2 standalone animated series, as well as a whole bunch of minor projects, and then those various fan animations including Astartes 2 and a few more including the Exodite. Next, those exclusive miniatures will be given to everyone who subscribes, but there is a caveat in that you have to have subscribed for 12 months apparently, so that's really quite a long commitment down the line. Apparently all Warhammer Plus subscribers will get to choose one or the other of either a unique Vindicare assassin or a new Age of Sigmar Uruk Megaboss. Apparently you get to choose the first, but will have the opportunity to pick up the other one for a cost that they haven't disclosed yet. It's perhaps a bit annoying having tied it up to people who have subscribed for quite so long, but I guess I can see the point, otherwise probably loads of people will just subscribe for a month, get the miniature and then quit. Hopefully they might be a bit more expedient with them if you have signed up to the entire year, so they know that you're already locked in, so hopefully they can get that miniature to you. The other video content, which again we'll go into in a second, kind of seems to be them trying to compete with other free things like YouTube a bit more. They've got a show actually called Battle Report for both Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40k, a show called Lore Masters going into the background of various figures from the fluff, and a new painting show called Citadel Masterclass, which is going to be focusing on the very higher end levels of painting, and maybe people who are really going after the high end things and going for competitions and things. Next is that Warhammer Vault. This looks like it's going to be a back catalogue of lots of Warhammer 40k lore and literature. Probably quite a few things that are just generally out of print and they no longer sell anymore. Certainly from some of the things that they've previewed, that quite a lot of the things from their previous campaigns are going into it, such as the whole Fall of Cadia campaign from the end of 7th edition. And another thing that I quite like is that they're putting in back catalogues of the White Dwarf magazines as well. Apparently on launch day you'll be able to read the entire 2020 back catalogue of White Dwarf magazines. So while the content won't exactly be current stuff, there's really quite a lot of info and value that you can get from reading back over them, particularly if you're someone who's kind of vaguely interested in White Dwarf but aren't really interested in paying for it monthly. I think the older issues of White Dwarf being included is really quite a draw. Apparently they'll be adding to the Warhammer Vault as they go along, and I'd hope that they might be able to put the 2021 issues of White Dwarf in it, maybe another 6 months down the line into 2022. Next up, the Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar apps being included is perhaps one of the biggest reveals of the day. In particular, that new 40k app had a very rocky reception on launch, lots of bugs and missing features, but they do seem to be ironing out quite a lot of the issues as they go along. It's a lot more usable for army list construction now, and they added a few extra perks such as being able to at least see the points value for all the models in the game, even if you still can't see the entire rules for them unless you have the codex. Apparently the oldish Age of Sigmar app is being remade for the new edition, but in particular if you are paying for the Warhammer 40k app, it's not really all that much of an increase to go up to the price of a Warhammer Plus subscription. The free miniature alone is kind of tempting for that, never mind all the random extra regular content they'll be making. Finally, there are another couple of very small perks. When you go to an actual Warhammer event, Warhammer Plus members will get some sort of VIP ticket. They didn't really spell out absolute specifics of what you might get, but they did allude to being able to pick up certain exclusive miniatures at events that other people can't buy yet. Maybe small amounts of merch and goodies included for free. They would be surprised if that was anything too major miniature-wise, and apparently having the option for skipping certain queues, maybe when checking in, which might be a bit of a minor thing and a bit annoying for anyone who doesn't have one of these subscriptions. Finally, those additional offers are a little bit nebulous as well. They mentioned at some point down the line you're going to be able to buy Warhammer gift vouchers at a slight discount, though they didn't say exactly how much. For those of us in countries with discount retailers available, that might not be enough to outweigh the discount that you can get at third parties, but it could be interesting if there's anything that you do need to pay for directly from Games Workshop, maybe certain exclusive things, or miniatures only available from their web store. Overall, there's really quite a lot of stuff included in this, but the exclusive miniatures, the app and the Warhammer Vault all seem like really good added value on top of those animations, which I don't really think would have been worth it just for them alone. As for those new miniatures, here's the unique Vindicare sculpt. It's a bit of an arty diorama, and unfortunately not really all that practical to use as an in-game miniature, I think. A Vindicare picking off his target, crouched within the shattered statue of a Sister of Battle. Really looking pretty excellent for picking off a target far below him. I'm not sure if you could put the Vindicare on his own base or not, but as it is, I'm not really sure how well this model will be able to be used in-game. It would have an absolutely massive footprint, and to be honest it would look quite weird with him carting around a massive statue wherever he goes like he's on some sort of hover pulpit. I think it's pretty fun though, perhaps a nice display piece, and I'm sure if all you wanted to do was to recoup value from Warhammer Plus, you might be able to sell it on eBay or something for a reasonable amount of money if it's not widely available. Just at a rough estimate, I would imagine that something like this would go for over £20 or $30 if Games Workshop sold it directly to you. The Age of Sigmar model is a new Uruk Megaboss sculpt. Again, pretty good value if you're looking to pick one up. They usually go for £25 or $40 US, so if you wanted one of these anyway, then it would basically halve the price of the subscription if you did want to shell out for the yearly deal. It's quite nice to have an alternative compared with the standard one. It doesn't really look enormously different. This one's holding a severed Stormcast Eternal head, and it could be potentially useful for Warhammer 40k, particularly with those new Beast Snaggers coming out. I'm sure that this guy could provide a pretty decent stand-in war boss. Next up, we have a few more details on those 3 new shows that they announced. During their reveal stream, they had short interviews with the creators. The painting show is called Citadel Masterclass, and it's going to be a bit different to their normal things that they stream on Twitch on Warhammer TV, with techniques tailored to slightly more advanced painters. Things like non-metallic metals and wet blending were mentioned. Apparently these new shows won't impact the current content that they already stream on Warhammer TV. It's going to be hosted by Louise Sugden, and there's going to be one show every week, where they typically paint complete miniatures from start to finish. The Battle Report show is a gaming show both for Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40k. It's going to be hosted by Patrick Price, and they're going to be both doing match play battles, competitive style 40k and Age of Sigmar, and narrative style spectacles, maybe creating certain iconic moments from the past of the 2 gaming systems. There's nothing mentioned for things like specialist games yet, and they haven't been quite so clear about exactly how many shows will happen each week. I don't know whether there'll be content for both 40k and Age of Sigmar every week, or whether they might alternate one than the other. In any case, when backed by Games Workshop directly, it's kind of likely that the miniatures and terrain will be absolutely top-notch, though it'll be interesting to see just how well this competes with the other Battle Report creating channels on YouTube. The fact that they've actually named this Battle Report does just make me a little bit uneasy. I certainly hope that they won't be trying to shut down or acquiring the current Battle Report makers, much like they did with some of the current animation makers. In any case, I certainly hope that they're not just calling this Battle Report so they can stop anyone else calling their productions Battle Reports, which everyone has been doing for decades now. Maybe that's just a little bit paranoid though. I don't think it would make Games Workshop very popular to go to war with some of the best loved and most viewed Warhammer content creators. Finally, they've got a lore and background show called Lore Masters, again both for Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40k, and it's going to be interesting to have a lore show produced by the actual official source of the information, though perhaps having to conform to the Games Workshop official line might just leave a bit less room for anything like speculation or trying to fill in the gaps. I guess we'll have to see exactly how much of a free rein they're given. It sounds like the shows are going to be quite similar in style to the various lore channels on YouTube, focusing on elements of the background. I don't know how many shows per week, but they've mentioned shows for Abaddon the Despoiler and Techless being some of the first productions. Maybe they'll be the ones that are available on launch. So overall, honestly, I think that Warhammer Plus is looking better than I thought it might have done. If it had been nothing but the animations and these shows, I might not have been all that convinced. An hour or two's worth of content per week just isn't really on par with other streaming services like Netflix. However, if you are already using the Warhammer 40k app, it does seem quite a good deal indeed. It's only a small increase on the price, and I think that for that price the value that you get is good, even if just for the free miniature alone. Again, I do quite like the option that there's a yearly subscription available, and I suspect that I'll be picking that up myself, although I fully admit that I'm not the average hobbyist, in that I've got quite a lot of incentive to try and keep up with anything that Games Workshop releases. Still though, £50 a year and $60 doesn't seem absolutely terrible when you are getting quite a cool miniature, access to the app for the next 12 months, and all the other bits and bobs are kind of just added value. I'm not sure how much I'll be keeping up with their shows, but at least the flagship animation things look like they could be well worth a watch. I'm certainly keen to see some of the fan-made things, particularly Astartes 2. So anyway, I'll be really interested to hear your thoughts behind the reveal. Is Warhammer Plus looking like something that you might be interested in, or does it still offer too little value for yet another monthly or yearly subscription service? Look forward to reading your thoughts down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video and you'd like to keep up with Games Workshop's news and releases, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics. I do try and keep the regular 40k content coming pretty much every day. And finally, talking of subscription services, if you'd like to help keep Auspex Tactics going, I would just like to mention that the channel has a Patreon page, which you can find down in the video description. If you are enjoying a lot of the content that I don't put behind a paywall, any support is enormously appreciated, and channel patrons do get a fair few other advantages, seeing certain things earlier, regular votes to see what sort of things come next, and automatic entry to the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.